Hi, welcome back to the Creative Restoration Channel. I'm Doug Giles. Today we're going to have a little bit different format. Instead of me making something or restoring something, I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk with a fellow Alan Edmonds enthusiast. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce David Cordes. David, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
How you been?
All right.
Good, good. Thank you for coming today.
Glad to be here.
All right. So, I know I told you already you were coming today to talk about Alan Edmonds, which is probably why you're wearing a pair now.
Correct.
Why don't you, I know your story and how you got into Alan Edmonds shoes. Tell me again how you got into Alan Edmonds shoes.
Well, you told me about your shoes and comparing them to the shoes I was wearing and how they were always uncomfortable and just wearing out too fast.
What shoes were you wearing before that were wearing out too fast?
Actually, I think they were a pair of tennis shoes.
Tennis shoes?
Right.
Yeah. And when you say they were wearing out too fast, how were they wearing out?
They wouldn't fit my feet right, and the seams were splitting. They were just like my foot was busting out the side, and the tops were splitting from the soles.
So you were literally busted. Man, that must have hurt.
Oh yeah, it was uncomfortable.
Man, wow, I can't imagine. So, I mean, you're going through life. How long had you had that issue? How long have you been dealing with that with shoes before you finally got into Alan Edmonds?
Oh, I guess most of my life, about 40 years.
40 years you've been dealing with the same issues. And all right, so I told you about my experience with Alan Edmonds shoes and how comfortable they were on my feet. And I remember taking you down to downtown New Orleans to the Alan Edmonds store down there and getting fitted properly. Why don't you go over that story with us and tell everyone how that was?
Right. We well, like you're saying, you took me to the store in New Orleans, and we went in there, and the lady in there measured my foot and got the correct measurements, and which is a 10 triple E, and she got some shoes off the shelf there, different styles that were in that size, and we tried on different ones, and some shoes were more comfortable than the other ones, even though they were 10 triple E. And I tried on these pair of Wilbur's I'm wearing now, and they were just so comfortable and fit so good that I left the store with them on my feet.
Really? Wow. Well, let me ask you this: what size shoe did you historically? What size shoe were you wearing?
10.
Just a straight up 10.
Correct, because most of the shoes I were buying were just off the shelf shoes from local shoebox store, whatever.
Like Payless shoes or like
Foot Locker or whatever. It's whatever they had on the shelf, but they never had any shoe that was exactly my size, because like I said, I've got a triple E, so it's wide.
Right.
And so it's whatever they had on the shelf. So if the width fit, it was too long, but then if I had the length correct, then they were too tight, and that's why they were always uncomfortable, and then my feet would be, like I said, busting out the shoe.
Wow. It never manifested in back problems or anything like that?
Oh, no.
Okay. But, had you ever tried going up to an 11 or anything like that? Just to...
Oh, yeah. That's what I was saying. I would go up to the 11 to
and
get
your foot would flop around in the
Correct.
shoe, huh?
Yeah, then it would be too long.
Yeah. So, when you found out that you could actually get different widths of shoes, that had to have been life changing, huh?
Oh yeah. I knew that I could get wider shoes, but the stores I was going to just didn't have them, and I never actually went to I guess a proper shoe store and had them fitted, and then have them have the correct shoe size in stock.
Now you said originally it was tennis shoes that you were blowing through like that, blowing through the sides. Alan Edmonds makes tennis shoes now too, huh?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Have you bought a pair yet?
No, not tennis shoes. I do have a pair of their boat shoes, deck shoes.
Maritimes.
The Maritimes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple of pairs of Maritimes as well. So, but overall, you're happy with the shoes, huh?
Oh yes, I sure am.
How many pairs you got so far?
I've got like a total of about I'm right around 12.
Right around 12.
Yep.
And I understand that you've gotten your son into buying some of the shoes too. Or
Correct.
Not buying them. Apparently, you're buying them for him, huh?
Correct.
And how old's your son?
He's 16.
Wow, you got to be the greatest dad out there to buy him Allen Edmonds shoes at 16.
Well, he's got the same problem I've got with the wide feet. So I just, if the shoe fits, wear it. So he's comfortable, and I don't want him to go through the problems I went through. And knowing that he could have a proper fitting shoe and be comfortable instead of wearing these shoes just off the shelf just because they're there, I'd rather get him the...
Yeah, pay a little extra and ensure his comfort as well.
Correct. Not only the comfort, but the quality. The shoes are going to last.
Right. How many pairs of shoes have you bought him so far now?
He's right at around 5 or 6 pair.
Wow. Which ones have you gotten for him? Do you know off the top of your head?
I think I might have gotten him a pair of Wilburs. He's got a pair of the Maritimes. And he likes the... I'm more casual. He's got
casual dress?
Yes, he's got more the dressy type shoes.
Have you tried any of their boots yet?
No.
So like these are the Daltons. I love these shoes and these boots. They're nice. And I've got a pair of Salkvilles that are they're suede, about like this. But if you get a chance to, the next pair you ought to get is a nice pair of boots because give you a lot of support in the ankles too.
Right.
But so, given all of that, knowing what you've gone through and everything, and your experience with getting fitted and everything, would you recommend it? Would you recommend Allen Edmonds to someone else?
Oh yes, absolutely.
And even with the price?
Oh yes.
Were you a little taken aback by the price? Did you get sticker shock or anything from the price?
Not really, because when I thought about it. Because, like I said, the other shoes I was wearing were, one, they were uncomfortable. And they would never fit properly. Mm-hmm. And two, I was going through them so fast that the Allen Edmonds, in the long run, the shoes, even for the price, would outlast any of the other shoes I was buying. And in the long run, they would end up probably being cheaper.
Well, let me ask you that. How often were you going through a pair of shoes before?
I'd probably say roughly every 6 months.
Every 6 months, and how much were you paying for each pair of those?
I'd probably say around $100.
So every 6 months, that's $200 a year that you're spending on shoes. And now, how long have you had these Wilberts now?
I probably want to say about 4 years.
Well, David, thank you for coming in and joining us and taking the time out of your day to tell everyone your story as it pertains to Allen Edmonds. Well, I'd like to thank you guys as well for stopping in and taking the time out to watch the video, and I hope you learned a few things. Maybe listening to David's experience with his shoes has prompted you to rethink your sizing and rethink the quality of shoes that you've been typically buying. Maybe it is time for you to step up your game and look for a different pair of shoes or a higher quality pair of shoes that long term are going to actually last you a lot longer than just the cheaper shoes that are out there. So again, I'd like to thank our guest David for dropping in today, and we'll see you on the next video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe.